All right. So maybe you are somebody who wants to get closer to God. You recognize that this is an important part of life. You want to know God, be more like Him, and see the fruits of that. But you feel stuck. You feel like you're not making any progress. You might not know where to start. You feel like He is distant and unavailable. Well, I want to challenge you and ask yourself in any other part of life, whether it's fitness, whether it's money, whether it's relationships, can you just not do anything and see progress in those fields? Can you get in great shape without going to the gym and without eating healthy? Can you have good relationships without serving the other person and making an effort to see them and talk to them, even in the busyness of life? Can you make more money? Can you develop more skills without intentionally practicing and without actually doing the work? So, my question is anything worthwhile and good in life, it takes active effort. So, my question is why would spiritual growth be any different than these things that we know take work, right? So I want to compare it to going to the gym. It takes discipline. You have to show up. You have to overcome that resistance. But when you do, think about how good you feel after the workout. A lot of times it's just in our head how big and scary we make the task. But when we just do it and when we show up, it's way easier than we thought. And we feel so much better afterwards. So I want to give you 4 spiritual disciplines that are necessary for growing in your relationship with God. First is prayer. So get a prayer journal, pray, make time to be quiet, to not only pray to God and talk to Him and communicate with Him where your feelings are, what you're struggling with, any doubts. He knows what you're feeling, so express it to Him. Be open and honest with Him. But also, and this is somewhere that I had to learn and I still struggle with, but also a part of prayer is being still and hearing God's voice. So letting Him talk back to you. So many of us, we just prayer, we treat God like a genie in a bottle. God, I need more money, I need you to heal me. And when your life is good, hey, God doesn't matter, right? We treat Him as like a big genie in the sky. That's not what He is. He desires a relationship with us and with you. And so, make room for Him to hear His voice. And number 2, on top of that, building on that, is reading Scripture. Not only reading, but memorizing Scripture. So Paul writes in 1 Timothy 4, Timothy is his young disciple. He says, "For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come." So he's saying that yes, physical training is important, but being more godly, becoming more righteous is going to give you favor on earth. You're going to be a good person. You're going to be well respected. You're going to have a good reputation. And also in the life to come, you are literally building treasure for yourself in heaven. So point here is memorize Scripture, get in the Word, and be able to hear God's voice. Hear His Word, and you will be able to hear His voice better. Know His Word, know what is consistent with His character and what He says and has said in the past, and you will be so much better at discerning His voice moving forward. Number 3, fasting. So this is interesting because most people in today's world have never fasted, especially in America. We probably have not gone without 3 meals in a day in many, many, many years. Okay. Fasting is intentionally denying and depriving the flesh so that you can become more dependent on God. And I'm a beginner faster. So don't think I'm an expert on this. But it is noted as one of the spiritual disciplines that's going to make us more reliant on God, get better at denying the flesh. You'll notice that when you're fasting, you're not also tempted by other sins. So it's an important discipline to develop for the purpose of training in godliness. And finally, number 4 is having a godly community around you. Get in a church, get in a small group, get a group of people around you who can hold you accountable, who can read the Bible together and make sure that you are reading it, right? We need accountability in everything, and the relationship with God is no different. So I want to bring attention to this scripture, 1 Corinthians 9. and it leads up to 9:27, which is a time I see like every single day, which is insane. But 1 Corinthians 9, starting in 24. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? So think about back in like Roman culture, they're the ones who started the Olympics, like physical athletic training. They had the Colosseum. So physical athletics were very important to them. So he's making an analogy to something they would understand, and it's no different than today. In a race, all runners run, but only one receives the prize. So run that you may obtain it. Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we an imperishable. So he's saying, just like an athlete trains and eats healthy and is disciplined in their regimen and routine, godliness is no different. This comes back to the original point I was making. He says, so I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air. He's not just shadow boxing. He's really doing it. He says, here's 9:27. I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified. So he's saying, I practice what I preach. I live this way. I am disciplined. I am in the word. I do teach. And he's saying this because he has to keep his body under control so that when he goes and talks to other people, he doesn't disqualify himself. It's the big issue of like religious hypocrisy, right? No, he's practicing what he's preaching. So this is just a quick word on spiritual discipline and why it is necessary to grow in your relationship with God. And just like the more you go to the gym, ask any gym person, after you get over the initial resistance, they actually feel worse when they don't go to the gym. So it's the same way with God. At first, it's going to be like, I got to open this book. It's confusing. I don't know what to do. But the more you get into it, the more you learn about God's character, the more your relationship grows, the more you're going to crave it and long for it, and you're going to need it after a while. So that's my word for the day, spiritual discipline.